Hi again then guys, and welcome to another Sleeper Spec track build. And for those who are perhaps new to this series, basically what we do in Sleeper Spec is we take a vehicle which is okay from a performance category, or pretty good for a road car, but then we upgrade it in such a way that you can't actually tell that anything has been done to it. So it's a complete sleeper, but it's actually multiple seconds, or sometimes even almost minutes faster than its stock equivalent around certain tracks. So in this particular build we've gone for the Dodge Challenger, the newer shape Challenger, the 2008 model, and there's some pretty decent differences that happen when you sleeper specify this car. So I've gone for sport soft tyres. If you go for racing softs, obviously it'll be even quicker though. We've gone for racing brakes, which make a huge difference. For the suspension we've got the ride height on 135 front and rear, springs on 1325 and 10, the dampers to 4, anti-roll we've left on 3, neutral camber and tow. For the gearbox we've got an auto setting of 180, then individual gears of 3.9, 2650, 1950, 1525, 1250 and 1025 with a final drive of 2.7. For the diff I've gone for an initial torque of 20. You don't necessarily need to have it that high, you could go down to 10 or maybe even 5. Acceleration and braking we've got as high as possible. As far as power, obviously you want to do nothing to it at all, not even an oil change, and likewise for the weight. So that's it overall for the mechanical setup. Exactly the same spec of course as the stock vehicle, almost visually identical. There's a slight difference in the brakes, but only the most trained eye in a public lobby would notice that. So now let's take it out to Laguna Seca to see what kind of a difference to your lap times this Sleeper Spec build can make. One of the best things about using muscle cars for Sleeper Spec tunes is that you see massive differences to the cornering, handling and just overall drivability, even regardless of whether it's a new or old muscle car, because this is a pretty heavy car, it's a very large car, and you can feel that around corners as you'd expect to. With the Sleeper Spec build, it actually makes the car feel lighter than it did before. If you compare how the stock car feels and then drive the Sleeper Spec build, it feels like a completely different vehicle. The cornering is so much more taut and focused, and it doesn't wallow around corners anywhere near as much. In fact, it doesn't do it at all. Now, the stock car could get around Laguna Seca, with me driving of course, and I'm not the fastest of drivers, but with me driving, it did it in 141.9, and as always I'll put the exact lap times in the description below for you to compare them, but it did a 141.9. With the Sleeper Spec build, exactly the same spec, it did it in 135.4. So over 6 seconds quicker, and that's only over one lap of Laguna Seca. Imagine the difference that could make over the course of an entire race. It could quite easily, within just a few laps, actually overtake the stock vehicle. So, if you decide to use this Sleeper Spec build, obviously I hope you find it fun and competitive if you do race with it, and if you'd like to keep up with other builds like this as soon as they're released, be sure to hit subscribe down below. But as always, thanks for watching.